there, Rock Solid Wrestling fans. Welcome to another episode of Talk Solid Wrestling, or maybe the first episode of Talk Solid Wrestling. We record these in batches, so I don't know what order they're going to be in until they're all done. There's a little peek behind the curtain. And here's another one. The guest we're talking to today, Matthew Sookram, Mr. 300K, as I like to call him, because of his work with Jay's Journal, over 300,000 satisfied readers, and his work on the Troops Trio podcast, which you can catch on YouTube every Wednesday, and of course on all of your fine podcast providers, like the one that you're hopefully listening to this show on, your Spotify's, your iTunes, etc. Matt and I used to have a podcast way back in the day, back in the old ancient times of 2016, where we used to just talk about wrestling and hit record on a microphone and let things fly. And that's kind of the same concept here today. We're doing a tournament concept where we're going to try to figure out if we can determine who is Triple H's greatest rival. Now, there was some confusion as to what that meant, as you will hear early on in the podcast. And one thing I would say is that Matt and I pick up right where we left off during our last podcast with absolute insanity. You'll hear it all in just a moment. Let's not wait any longer. Danny, ring the bell. All right, so I'm going to explain this to you and to the listeners one time and one time only. I'm not going to repeat this ever again. So if for some reason this show makes it like past 100 episodes and you're like, I don't understand the tournament, too bad. Should have been watching this episode, because this is the only time I'm going to explain it. Matthew has chosen the topic. I have chosen the 8 seeds and their order. So, Matt, how this is going to work, what are you looking at?
Sorry, I think my cat keeps trying to get in. Sorry. This
is a great way to start the episode and your first appearance on the podcast, by the way. For those of you who are just listening to it and not watching it, Matt keeps turning his head because I guess he's looking for his cat. What a time to be doing that. Yeah. Also, why is that a concern? Is your cat going to like interrupt the episode or hurt you?
Pushing the door open, so it like opens a little bit, then it closes, and it's just like just come in then. Either come in or get out. What? Just stop playing with the door.
Way to like lean into the stereotype, Noodles, of not being able to determine whether you're coming or going. Like, come on,
and
man.
You know it is Noodles,
of course I know it's Noodles. Yes. All right, so as I said, you pick the topic, I'm picking the seeds. We're gonna do this one at a time. I'm not going to give you all 8 at once. We're going to go matchup by matchup, and you're going to make a snap decision on the spot here, because that I think will make for a more interesting podcast with a 20-minute time limit. So, Matt, tell us what topic you picked for our first ever Tournament of Champions.
So the topic I picked is, which wrestler would say their biggest rival is Triple H? So a bit of a twist on who's Triple H's biggest rival. It's which wrestler would say they had their best rivalries with Triple H.
Well, that is going to make this tournament very weird, because I did it the opposite way.
Oh,
where
no!
I picked the people who are Triple H's best opponents. His greatest rivals.
Who would say they had their best rivalry with Triple H?
Well, I guess we're going to have to do that in the next episode, because that is not what I prepared. And already this episode, as I knew it would be, already off the rails.
We used to have a weekly podcast.
Can you believe that?
Insanity.
And nobody listened. We can definitely believe that. Oh, there comes... No, it's even worse than Noodles. It's your wife. Oh, my God. Now your wife is interrupting the show. What does she want?
Apparently, I'm being too loud, so I'm going to plug my headphones in.
No.
And
we know what actually it is. I'm being too loud. She can hear me through the speakers, and it's disrupting your children and causing all kinds of chaos. And absolutely, our producer Danny is listening to me going, yeah, you're too loud. You are popping the mic every time, you Nimrod. This is why your podcast with Matthew Sookram was not successful earlier, because you didn't consider things like decibel levels and waking sleeping children. So that is where we are at, ladies and gentlemen. So while Matthew
Sookram, gonna be so mad, she's gonna be like, "Was I on camera?"
Yes, 100% she was. If she has a problem with it, Matthew, let me know. And when we do the video version of this, I will give her
So just
the Christian Cage treatment and put a big blue dot over her face so that no one will see her.
might appreciate that.
I want to just go on record as saying that Matthew Sookram just said that he appreciated me covering up his wife's face, and that is now on record. So we can continue to move forward with this. Wow, I can't believe we've gotten off to this kind of a start already, but I'm happy to have it. Okay, man. So here it is. We're gonna just jump right in with this and see what happens. So, in the category of Triple H's greatest rivals, not guys who would say Triple H was their greatest rival, we start with the number 1 seed, The Undertaker, versus the number 8 seed, Vince McMahon. So your first and foremost, your reaction to that matchup and their placement in the seating. Any questions, concerns, agree, disagree?
So you want me to pick a winner out of those two?
Oh, you know what? Yes, I do. And I've already screwed up. Oh my God. We should like hit the reset. Okay, you know what this should be? This should be, do you remember when Vince McMahon came out during Rhino and Tajiri's match on that house show once and made them stop the match and
And
go to the back
restart
and
it.
start it again? That's what this should be. I've
I
screwed up
know.
already. The Undertaker is not the number 1 seed. The Rock is the number 1 seed. It's The Rock versus Vince McMahon
Well,
on
that makes my job a little bit easier, I think.
I think so too. Well, I mean, it's number 1 seed versus number 8 seed. That's how it's supposed to go. This is not going the way I wanted it to, but we are going to
That's
soldier
okay.
on. We're going to soldier on, man. You can't, we're not just going to go back and do the same spot over again. We're going to work into the next spot here. So
That's right.
the next spot is you picking a winner of those two guys and your comments on the pairing.
Okay, very interesting pairing. Vince McMahon, yeah, played a really big foil for Triple H's kind of coming out party, right? Like Triple H was always kind of the secondary guy behind Shawn Michaels, and then after WrestleMania 14, he started to come into his own a little bit, but it really was his marriage to Stephanie, which is so wrong to look back on from today's lens in kayfabe land. Um, but yeah, like that kind of catapulted him to being a main event guy, I think. However, the stuff he did before that with The Rock, the stuff he did after that with The Rock, stands up as, I think, some of the best stuff that ever came out of that era of the WWF/WWE. So I am going to have to pick The Rock as the winner in this matchup.
I think that's a smart choice. I want to also say, also people forget about Vince's year-long feud with him and DX. Like for the reunion, it was pretty much Vince and Shane versus DX that entire year. So I felt like he had enough of a connection with Triple H throughout the years, both as a rival and as a partner, to put him in that list. And the number
And
8 seed over a lot of guys, which many people listening might be mad that I left off, but whatever.
and it is unfortunate that I forgot about that because that was some good television for sure. And I was at Unforgiven 2006 when that version of DX took on Vince,
McMahon's
Shane,
and the
and Big
Big
Show
Show.
in a Hell in a Cell match. And yeah, I can't believe I forgot that that was part of that feud. But yeah,
Well,
it's still going The Rock for
doesn't
sure.
matter. None of it matters. He's out. He's
None of it
gone.
matters
So
now.
forget you, old man. You are out of here, just like in real life. And now we're going to move on to seed number 2 and 7. Now we're getting to The Undertaker, the number 2 seed against the number 7 seed. Oh, hell yeah. Stone Cold Steve Austin. A classic encounter of the Attitude Era and a classic encounter here in this tournament, I would say.
Okay, this is a hard choice. Um, you know, Triple H told Rikishi to hit Stone Cold with a car. I mean,
That's
you know,
if he's bald and tough, you
get
gotta
that
hit that
mother
MFer with a
ever.
car.
Um, and I'm trying to think, like, they had some really great matches too. I think the Three Stages of Hell match is probably their standout.
Classic, all timer. All-timer for sure. And see, this is where I think is real interesting because I think when you're looking at this, you're looking at a guy who was pivotal in the early stages of Triple H's career versus a guy who was pivotal in the latter stages of his career, right?
And that's what is so tough because I think Undertaker, two of Undertaker's or three of Undertaker's best WrestleMania matches are against Triple H.
Unquestionably. But more importantly, are those three of Triple H's best matches? The answer is yes. Yes, it is. Yes, they are.
Yeah, going through my head real quick, like yeah, they definitely have to be. And you know, Triple H and Stone Cold never had that WrestleMania moment.
No, they really didn't.
They did a lot of good stuff outside of WrestleMania. Man, this is a hard one. Um, I I also think like yeah, I don't know if Triple H and Austin were ever also the biggest rivalry on at any given time. Trying to think real quickly here. Like I
I don't know,
feel
man.
like a lot of it
I'd
got
say maybe
meshed.
that late 2000s when he revealed himself to be the mastermind behind hitting Austin and the peak of that being their three stages of
But I
hell match. Like
feel
that was kind
yeah,
of like the big focus, right? Like I would say
but it
that
was
was even
also
bigger.
short. I feel like it was so short-lived, whereas the
It
stuff with
was.
The Undertaker spanned.
Yes, it did. Absolutely it did.
All right, I'm probably gonna take heat for it. I'm going with Undertaker.
Well, you're not going to get it from me because I put him as the number 2 seed. So for me, I think that's an easy choice. All right. Moving on to the next seeds. This is number 3 and number 6, respectively. We've got Mr. Bang Bang, Mick Foley, against the number 6 seed, Big Dave Batista.
Okay. Quick reaction is it's Mick Foley. Is this Foley in all his incarnations?
Absolutely. Well, it's Mick Foley. So he
Okay.
encompasses all three faces of Foley.
Because what I like about Mick is that he had those great matches against him in the late 90s
Yep,
as Mankind. He then had some terrific matches against him as Cactus Jack as well. I mean, the
100%.
two that come to people's heads right away are Royal Rumble 2000, the Street Fight, the Hell in a Cell, at No Way Out 2000 in the Hell in a Cell match. They obviously main evented WrestleMania 2000 against each other, and then after that, Commissioner Foley was a great foil to heel Triple H as well throughout all that. Um, During the McMahon Helmsley era stuff, Mankind was always the guy that was receiving the short end of the stick
Yeah, absolutely.
to whatever the McMahon Helmsley era was creating. But man, Big Dave and Triple H and Evolution to see the sorry for the pun, but to see the evolution of that storyline,
Like one of the best ever done
it
for either man's
really is.
career. They had some really incredible matches. I think their Hell in a Cell encounter at Vengeance is really underrated. Not to mention poetically, they had each other's last match. Now, unknowingly, but still, like they ended their careers against each other. That's a
They
pretty big
did.
thing, I think, too. That's why I had to put him in the top 8 spot. But is it enough to beat all the how much Foley did with
Hmm.
Triple H at the beginning? So
And I,
again, it's and I didn't plan it this way, but we've got a at the beginning versus at the end kind of situation, right?
you know what? And again, I think in terms of making Triple H a star, Foley did so much to help him there. So I'm gonna have to go with the higher seed again, and I'm gonna go with Mick Foley
No underdog winners in this one just
so
yet,
far.
but we have a very interesting last contest of the first round here. The number 4 seed, Randy Orton versus the number 5 seed, Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid.
Oh man. See, kind of the same with Foley and Batista, where um, I don't think Triple H and Randy. Oh, they did go back and forth a couple times. Eh? There was the initial stuff with Evolution,
In
and then
2004, a
and
little
then
bit
there
in
was
2005 there, but then they had the stuff with Legacy.
yep,
Triple H also defeated him, I think, to win back in 2007 as well. There was the stuff after the Authority ended. Like they've been
Yes,
intrinsically linked to one another
they
for a
really
long,
have.
long time. But on the other hand, Shawn Michaels, yes, they weren't exactly rivals at the beginning, back when Triple H was like a mid-carder and Shawn was champ. But I mean, that comeback story in 2002 went, and those two feuded
Yeah,
for years,
for
literally
years after that,
years,
up until DX came back.
and put on some of the best matches in the company's, certainly in that era,
Yeah, that was
So,
SummerSlam 2002.
yep,
He beat him in Sean beat him in the Elimination Chamber.
they had their
Oof.
three stages of hell match, the last man standing at the Royal Rumble, the triple threat match at WrestleMania 20, the rematch to that match, their Hell in a Cell. Like, literally, we have like a whole DVD set of matches with just Triple H and Shawn Michaels that you could do.
And like in sports or especially in hockey, the 4-5 matchup is usually the one you have no idea which way it's going to go. And my
Absolutely.
God, I am not sure which way to go with this one.
It's a tough one for sure. But we are in a clock, so I am going to poke you a little bit and say,
I know.
let's move it
Let's get a
along here.
move on. Um, you know what? I love Randy Orton, but again, I think if you were to ask Triple H, I think he would go with Shawn because again, I think that kind of defined a certain period for him.
All right. So maybe not necessarily an upset being the 4 and 5 spot, but hey, one of the lower
A
end
lower
tier
seed.
seeds did beat the top seed. So there you go. One big shocking upset. Okay. We're into the semis now. Now things are going to get a little bit tougher because now we've got the number 1 seed, The Rock, against the number 3 seed, The Undertaker. So at this point in time now, we've had a chance to kind of discuss a little bit of both, you know, what each guy has done with Triple H. Who do you see as being the bigger rival?
Yeah, so again, it's interesting because like with The Rock, I think for a certain era of wrestling fans, that was the biggest rivalry. I think every single show, it was what are The Rock and Triple H going to do to each other? And that kind of went from middle of 1998 to probably 2001.
Yeah, I would say that's
Although,
a good assessment.
although again, The Rock and Triple H never got that one-on-one WrestleMania match against each other, but I feel like they probably main evented almost every other pay-per-view, whether it was one-on-one or in a multi-man match, like they headlined a lot of pay-per-views together. However, Triple H again with The Undertaker did some big business.
So the question then becomes what's more important, the history or the moments? Because if you're talking history, I think you got to go with The Rock. And if you're talking big moments, I think you got to go with The Undertaker.
Yeah. Um it's just they both have so many iconic moments against each other and it's just like what do you weigh? I think I'm going to have to go with The Rock because again, I keep going back to what kind of set Triple H up for success. What was again the biggest stories when he was, the main guy. And I don't think, I not that he was an undercard guy per se when he was going up against Undertaker, but they weren't the main focal point, I think, of the business at the time.
Absolutely. All right. Number 3 seed, Mick Foley versus the number 5 seed, Shawn Michaels. We're playing some mind games with you here, man.
No
Uh,
kidding.
so two guys, and again, it's more of a generational thing. Do we go with the guy that helped make Triple H into a big star, or do we go with the guy that basically gave him maybe the best feud of the Ruthless Aggression era?
This game is harder than I thought it would be.
Good. I'm glad to hear
Man,
that.
I am sweating over here. Yeah, man, Mick Foley, I mean, even the stuff that maybe isn't as well known is still all good. And I don't know if that's more to do with Triple H or if that's more to do with just Mick Foley. I can watch Mick Foley stuff. I was gonna say I could watch Mick Foley stuff all day, but I can't because I think you get tired of seeing Mick Foley put his body on the line
You
for
get
your
depressed after a while.
enjoyment. But it's so methodical and it's so well thought out. And I think they kind of elevated as they went along. Whereas, like, I don't know if Triple H and Shawn Michaels, not that they didn't take their in-ring work to another level, but I think it was one solid story. Whereas with Triple H and Mick Foley, I feel like they told different stories. And I think that's important to someone's character in trying to stay relevant over a long period of time. Man.
So what do you think? That's a pretty lot of good analysis there, but it's still ain't picking a winner.
All right. I'm going to go with Mick Foley.
All right. I think that's the smart choice, the smart money. And here we go. The finals, the Rock and Sock connection implode. The Rock versus Mick Foley. Who is Triple H's greatest rival? Ah, the world may never know, as that is the bell. We've reached a 20-minute time limit just as we hit the finals. Yeah, we're gonna end this one at a cliffhanger because them's the breaks, kid. Sometimes that happens. Are we hearing the 5 more minutes? No, I can't. I can't. 5 more. Okay, 1 more minute. 1 more minute for Matthew to pick his winner. Go ahead, Matthew. Rock or Sock? Who do you think is Triple H's greatest rival?
Let's go with Sock. Let's go with Mick Foley.
All
Again,
right.
the amazing. Go back. Don't just watch the stuff that you already know. Go back and find some of their hidden gems. There's a match between Triple H and Cactus Jack on Raw from sometime in 1998, and it is absolutely chaotic in the best way possible.
All right, there you have it. Thanks, Matt. I appreciate you being on the show. Well, I'm sorry went to the time limit draw there. I think the extra minute didn't really solve any of the issues between us, so we'll have to have you back on for a rematch. What do you say?
Yeah, I'd love to come back on.
Oh man, I love that guy. Love Matthew Sookram. Love having him on the show. You will definitely be hearing more episodes with Matthew Sookram in the future. But the question is, did he make the right call? Is Mick Foley Triple H's greatest rival? Now, clearly, I disagreed with that. I put him at the number 3 seed, whereas I thought The Rock was the number 1 seed. But hey, what do I know, right? More importantly, what do you know? I want to hear it. So if you could do me a favor and comment on this episode with who you think is Triple H's greatest rival. Maybe he was somebody on that list that you thought it should have been, or maybe there was somebody who got missed. There's a couple of names on there that I had a hard time cutting from the final 8 that I scored on there. So tell me about it, whether you're watching us on YouTube or listening to us on Spotify or iTunes. And hey, if you happen to be listening or watching on one of those platforms, could you do me a favor and just like and subscribe and leave a review for us if you could? Believe it or not, that kind of stuff goes a long way towards making this podcast really successful, which is great. We would really love that. Also, if you want to support us in another way, you can go over to rocksolidfanclub.ca. That is our on-demand video library service where, guess what? These episodes, I've been told, are going to go up there early. So if you want to get next week's episode now, go to rocksolidfanclub.ca. And for just a couple of ducats in the bucket, that's a throwback for any of you that used to listen to Matthew and I's podcast way back when, you get full access to our on-demand service for pennies a month. Go check it out. And thank you so much for tuning in this week. Thank you to our producer, Danny, and Pulse Hook Audio. We'll see you on the next episode of Talk Solid Wrestling.